Thank you, Sarah, for joining us. This is our podcast series of our 6 panelists for the Women in Architecture AIA Minnesota Conference Session 2023, where we are talking about women's search for meaning in and beyond architecture. And I am Katie Kangas. I am a founder of Pask Architecture, here with Kaitlin Schalow.
Hey everyone, it's Kaitlin Schalow, architect at HGA.
And Sarah, we're so happy to have you here from Stillwater. And can you tell us a little bit about you, your role, and where you practice?
Sure, thank you. Thanks for having me, Katie. My name is Sara Imhoff, and I'm owner and principal of Imprint Architecture and Design. And as Katie mentioned, we're located out of Stillwater, but we do work all over the Twin Cities. We do work in the Arrowhead region. We have projects in Decorah, Iowa. Yeah, we work all over the region. We have projects even in Washington State, which is where we came from. We originated. And when I say we, I also am referring to my husband. He's an architect licensed here in Minnesota. He and I spent 15 years out in Seattle together. And he's also a business partner with Imprint Architecture and Design.
So many wonderful places you get to go for work, which kind of adds a sweetness to the job. Mm-hmm. So where have you been finding inspiration lately?
You know, inspiration, just even today, we were at a job site looking at progress and doing an electrical walkthrough, and they had a freshly poured concrete floor, and they had done all the saw cuts that we had laid out in the drawings. The inspiration to me in architecture comes from the small details that are created by the people that are building them and fabricating them per what we're putting on paper. Lately, that's been very inspirational to me personally, is just seeing we have 6 projects under construction right now. All are fabulous, really exciting projects. They're all very unique and special in their own way. We've just been finding so much inspiration in the collaborative process of working with different builders, different clients, and these different designs, seeing them come to life after spending so much time during the design process, organizing and coordinating and creating these projects with our clients. A lot of the inspiration, I'd say, recently is definitely coming from the actual realization of these projects within our firm, which is really exciting.
Oh, such beautiful success to see those projects. It's messy to see them come to life, but also beautiful.
Yes. Yeah.
So tell us about your life journey. How did you get to this point, starting in Seattle, coming to Minnesota, starting a firm with your husband?
Sure. Oh gosh, that's a long question, so I'll try to keep it short. But growing up, we moved around a lot, and because of that, we lived in many different homes. And I was always curious and fascinated by that moving process of looking at different houses with my parents and what does this house feel like? So I would always go with them whenever we moved, and they would do house hunting. I would enjoy going along to see all these different homes. Moving around a lot, we lived in Illinois, we lived up in Vancouver, BC, we lived all over the place. And so there's definitely regional styles of architecture that I was exposed to, even just different neighborhoods of architecture. I knew that was something that I wanted to explore as I got older. Thinking about making a career, it sounded really fun. Ultimately, I went to the University of Minnesota, but ended back out in the Seattle area just because of my past living out west. We moved out that way, and we were there for quite some time, and then eventually decided to move back with our family and be close to family and start a new chapter and explore new things here in Minnesota, which has been really fun. We've just been loving every minute of it.
So what gets you excited about your projects specifically, or your team, or your work beyond practice?
What's really exciting about our practice right now and our projects is that our clients are really giving us the freedom to do our best design work. They see some of the projects that we've had built recently, and they're really trusting us and coming to us because they want something really creative and artistic. And it's really exciting to be able to put forward a design that maybe 10 or 15 years ago I would have been really shy or nervous to present, but now have the confidence to present that design and have a positive response from our clients on that. Outside of the practice, getting to meet new people like you guys and be involved in things outside of just drafting. And that's, doing important things with you guys, with the AIA and attending events and just being part of the larger community.
And so having started your own firm with your husband, you're obviously put into this point of leadership. What was something early in your life that started to put you on that path to leadership?
I would say that it's just, I love being around people. I love talking. I love hearing stories. I love engaging with people and learning about them. And I think part of that curiosity with engaging with people naturally just leads towards leadership and wanting to be part of that role of taking charge and directing things. Within the architecture that we're doing, I really like that personal relationship with our clients, and I'm just always in their corner and wanting to do the best job for them and make them happy. And that's part of, I think, being a great leader is recognizing and having empathy for other people, which is really what we're trying to do at Imprint. So
I love that. So what do you think it is about empathy that strengthens that definition of a leader?
being able to put yourself in somebody else's shoes, really, and just kind of understanding their perspective and where they're coming from. And if you can do that, then you can gain trust from them. And if they trust you, then it allows you to have a better leadership position to really have that freedom and confidence to say, here's what I think we should do. Here's the direction we should go in, because they're trusting you. So I think empathy leads to trust, and that can lead to good leadership skills.
I think you're already all over this next question about why is having power or influence so important for you as a leader? I kind of like some of those words that you used better: confidence and that relationship building.
Thank you. When you say power, that to me might be off-putting to people, right? So I think, just being more equals to people. I think if somebody feels like they're your equal or their peer, that feels more empathetic, like you said, but also allows somebody to really just have more confidence in what you're trying to do rather than doubt what you're trying to do.
And I like how you describe building trust so that you have confidence. And that word confidence almost even seems more empathetic than the word influence. Influence almost sounds one way, whereas confidence in sharing your professional advice for what is best for your clients, it sounds like it's a two-way conversation and not just a one-way, here's the design.
Definitely.
How do you currently find purpose or meaning in your life?
It's all intertwined. Our kids, we have 3 amazing, beautiful kids. I'm sure that at least one of them will be an architect, if not all 3. I don't know, but we live in a house that Jeremy and I designed together. We work together. We have the same interests. I think architecture is also about art. It's about joy. It's about where can you find those moments of things that bring you happiness. When, working together, being around our kids with our family, we just find that every day. I mean, it's really just interwoven throughout our daily lives and everything we're doing. Inherently, that just is meaningful to us.
It sounds like a dream little life.
It's definitely hard in a way when so much is focused on working together, but it's also easier because we're able to just talk about it rather than have to table it or wait. It is really great. And we're also going back to that trust. We're able to really trust each other with our ideas and our thoughts and our comments, and also be really honest with each other, like brutally honest, which is fabulous, because I think it really tightens up the design quality of what we're trying to do. And our kids at some points in time are like, can you stop talking about work? We don't want to hear about work. Sometimes they're like, we don't want to do anything pertaining to architecture. So sometimes it can have a negative effect, but it is hard to tear yourself away from something that you're so passionate about and that you're getting to do. It's such an honor to be able to do what we're doing for our clients. And that makes it really exciting. So
you seem to be at this nice place where you're driving everything and you kind of see that goal. Have you always had such a clear goal for the meaning of your career, or has that changed over time?
To go into a deeper answer to that question, I know when I first started Imprint Architecture in 2008, my goal was just to be able to pay my bills. And I remember one of my colleagues had said to me, well, you need to establish a 5-year plan. Why don't you have a 5-year plan? And I've always just had goals that have always been attainable and in a short-term fashion. The underlying conviction has always been to just do my best. And I think if you're setting goals that are realistic and you're trying to do your best, then good things follow. And so far that has come true with the decisions that we've been making and the foundations that we've been basing our work off of. Our goal is to be successful on a building block basis based on, is our client satisfied and did we do our best? We've been growing steadily because of that.
I'm going to ask a question, Katie. What prompted you, Sara, to start your own firm?
I also knew that family was going to be a future for me and my husband. And I wanted to have the freedom and the flexibility in my life to be able to have a family and work on my own terms with my own schedule.
So you started your own firm 14 years ago in 2008. So what role has mentorship had in your career? I mean, that's that big leap, but you've also moved your company from one state to another and you've grown it. Where do you see mentorship along that route?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, definitely I look to my colleagues and peers who have started their own companies. There's many architects, friends of mine in Seattle, and if they ever listen to this, they know who they are. But I'm asking them questions all the time, and they're asking me questions all the time. And there's also a wonderful group that I belong to out there, the Congress of Residential Architects Northwest, and that has a bunch of people in the industry that are asking questions, everything from a referral question or something pertaining to a venting question or a code question. And that's a great resource. And then in terms of mentorship, I've been really blessed since I've worked at the co-work space where we're working out of. We've gotten to know Kelly Davis really well as Catherine Hilbrand, and both were principal emeritus at Sala Architects, both retired now, but they've become fabulous friends of ours, and we look up to them and definitely ask plenty of questions and, love hearing their stories and their advice. And they're excited to talk to people who have a young business and are growing. And so that, I think mentorship comes from your peers and people that are going through similar things that you're going through, and also those that you can reach out to and feel comfortable asking questions of, and that have already been down that path.
and you've been very resourceful in all the directions of finding mentors. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Along this long career with many pinch points and many challenges and many hurdles, some women drop out of the profession at some point or another. Do you have any thoughts on how to retain female talent in architecture?
That's a great question. I'm trying to think of anybody that I know that has left architecture in the female realm. And I can't think of any. I do know that there's definitely a struggle with some women that I've talked to after they've had children and they've been working for a company that they feel like they get, quote, mommy tracked, if you've ever heard that term. But basically, they're not given as many responsibilities because maybe they think that they're not going to be around to really make sure that their head is focused or in the game of what they're trying to do at another office. So I've heard that that can be a challenge for women, but a lot of the women that I know that are in the profession are also really strong women that have been able to put a voice to that concern and fight back against any sort of pigeonholing, if you will, in terms of what their work amount is going to be if they're not able to be at the office 40 hours a week. In that aspect, I think it can be challenging when you're starting a new family. And again, that's one of the reasons why I started Imprint prior to having kids, was I wanted to have something somewhat established before I went down that path. Many of the firms that I worked at prior to starting my own business were either a husband and wife firm, or they hired many women. I've worked with many women at other offices that have held project manager, architect roles. So in my mind, I've always seen it as very equal in the profession. And I know that's not the case. I know there's a lot of firms out there where that's not the case. I've just been lucky to be part of firms where men and women have been very equal in their tasks. So I think in that aspect, that could also have given me more confidence when I started my own business, is that I never saw women that were being, put down or not promoted because of their gender. So
I feel like change is starting to happen pretty rapidly. I had a similar experience as you in certain firms that I worked in, where it seemed very equal and yeah, a lot of great examples on both sides, men and women. Is there anything else we haven't touched on that you would like to share upon?
I'd like to say that the Minnesota architecture community and the AIA has been so welcoming and inviting, and their arms are open. And I have been able to capitalize on every cent that I've paid the AIA in Minnesota through the Homes by Architects tour and the Home of the Month and the Women in Architecture events that I met Kaitlin at, and this that you guys are asking me to do right now, and just meeting people. And I just really think that the architecture community in Minnesota is just really supportive and really helps people emerge in their profession in the best possible light.
Well, it is a joy to have time to talk with you. So thank you so much for joining us.
Guys.
We're not done yet.
Okay.
So what is the one thing you want to see before you die? And this can be a place or it can be a change in the world.
First thing that came to mind was the pyramids of Giza. So that's probably it. And if I could get over my fear of flying, I'd be there in a second, but we'll see. We'll see if I ever make it there.
That's a fun one though. I like that. Is there anything you're currently listening to or reading or watching that inspires you that you'd like to share?
So I would just say, in general, big picture, but vinyl records. And my husband and I love listening to all types of music, but more specifically on our vinyl record player. So that's been fun. And yeah, we spend a lot of time doing that.
So you're a designer. Can you set the scene
our friends who come over will laugh. The record player's in our kitchen, and it's usually on when we're working in the kitchen or playing games at board games and strategy games at the kitchen table, or sitting on the screen porch having cocktails. It's kind of centralized.
I love it. Oh, this is a self-serving question. What's your favorite board game or top 3?
Oh, top 3. Jeremy and I like to play Wingspan a lot. Do you like Wingspan? Yes.
I only discovered it last year. I love it so much.
It's so fun.
So beautiful.
It is beautiful. It is. And it's developed by a woman, made and all of the graphics and everything. I happen to love a game called Castles, which you build rooms and in the castle for points, and it's kind of a strategy game. And then we like to play.
Is that the one where you interlock like cut pieces that you put together?
It's kind of, yeah, they don't interlock, but you'll have like rooms. So you'll start with the foyer, and then off of that you build, like you might have the music room or the dining hall or the buttery or these weird random rooms that might be in this giant castle. Anyways, there's a lot of pieces to that particular game, but that one's really fun. And then most recently, we like to play Ticket to Ride a lot. The kids really like Ticket to Ride, and it's fun to be able to play that one because it's not too challenging and it doesn't take too long. So nice.
Yeah, I don't know. Catan's my favorite game, and
really?
I always win. I must be a very good strategist. Yes, I
love that.
So I didn't find Catan until like 3 years ago because we never played, like that was off my radar growing up. So
wow.
But now we play it all the time when my family gets together, especially with my niece and nephew.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Well, cool. Well, thank you, Sarah. This has been such a delight to
thank
both
you guys.
These questions and beyond, because we had a little extra chat just because it's fun to get to know you. And
Same.
Like you say, this Minnesota community is so gracious and it's growing, and it's great to see where it's going. So we love that the Women in Architecture has continued to thrive here in the state, and we're so excited for this session. Thank you for joining us. This interview was prepared for the Women's Search for Meaning in and Beyond Architecture session. The networking portion of this session will take place on November 13th at the AIA Minnesota 2023 Conference on Architecture. The AIA Women in Architecture Committee prepared this mini-series to share the stories of 6 women and their unique paths into leadership. Our hope is to inspire your own search for meaning in and beyond architectural practice.